flows one direction, and fishes they follow the flow. But what if one tried to mention that there was much more to explore? Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know where I'll land. Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know where I'll land. A dragonfly heard the message. Darkness was home for the star. It spread its wings to the surface. The bright colors set them apart. Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know where I'll land.
So I'm going to start this week with a cottage update. So a couple of weeks ago, James and I looked at a really nice cottage to rent. We live in a flat at the minute and we'd like a garden. So we've had our eye out for quite some time now, but nothing good has come up. Plus it's crazy difficult to get an application that's even considered, and also the prices are bonkers. So there's a lot of sort of things, obstacles if you like, that may get in the way. However, we did go and look at this cottage because it looked absolutely perfect for us. So anyway, you can go back a couple of videos and check out the cottage because it really was really rural and idyllic and beautiful, really gorgeous, loads of character. So James and I had a big ponder, and James drew up a spreadsheet and we looked at costs, increases in sort of gas and electric prices as well that's going on at the minute, the rent, the fact that I'd have to give up this studio and work at home, have a designated space to be my studio at home. And because of the layout of the house and the light coming in, it would have probably been that I'd need one of the little bedrooms, the teeny tiny ones, would have been the shop for all the stock, because I've got so much stock at the moment. I think I ordered maybe a little bit too much for the size of my room. I mean, it's really good. I love having a load of stock because then I don't have to think about it for a few months. But at the same time, yeah, maybe I should have considered the size of my actual room. Anyway, and then I would have needed a painting space. So suffice to say, it didn't tick enough boxes for us to warrant spending that amount of money. I think I would have still needed an out there studio. So yeah, that's the little cottage update. But watch this space because, you know, we never do know what's around the corner, do we? So after last week's tree visit, so that's last week's video, if you've not seen that one, so many beautiful comments. I have to address the fact that the comments were even more than usual, so gorgeously loving. And also lots and lots of you sharing your favourite trees and the fact that you love trees and you've got friendships with trees, and I absolutely loved reading them. I haven't replied to everybody, but I've replied to as many as I can, and I am reading them as well. I'm trying to keep up because they're so special. So I really appreciate that. And you know, some people have even said that they felt quite emotional watching the video because it related to them so much with the fact, you know, of being out in nature and having that really loving and sacred and special relationship with nature, with the trees, and how it felt like it was just directly how you were feeling as well in relation to the world situation right now as things are slowly but surely starting to open up. Big massive lorry, sorry. And yeah, I'm in the same situation. It really was genuinely me connecting with that tree, and I think that's why the emotion shone through. I felt really emotional making the video and talking to you last week, extra emotional if you like. And since then, since the visit to the tree, I felt a great big opening up in the sense of possibilities. And I feel like even amongst all the restrictions that are going on still in different parts of the world, and things are opening up a lot more in England here. We've had a little bit of a how to put it, debacle, puppet show type situation with the leaders of the country, shall we say. But on top of that, I feel like I've been putting extra restrictions on myself to, not do things that I haven't done for ages. So that's why this week I went to a charity shop, and went to a couple of charity shops actually, and, bought my new little dress. And I haven't bought anything from a charity shop since way before the lockdown. I mean, I don't even know how long, but it will be over 2 years. And, it's one of the things that James and I used to love doing. Not that we like gathering a load of stuff, but you never know what you're going to find there, interesting things. And there's always fun things for me to bring back to the studio and paint or use in all sorts of different ways. It's a little bit like, I don't know if you remember the children's programme, Bagpuss, where the owner of the shop used to bring an object back in each little episode. And then Bagpuss, the saggy old cloth cat, and friends, so the mice on the mouse organ, and Professor Yaffle was a wooden woodpecker. And anyway, I won't go into all that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you could maybe look it up online because it's such a great children's programme. Anyway, a little bit like that. So, have an eclectic collection of stuff for the studio, and I can show you a few bits and bobs perhaps another day when I give you a tour maybe. It's a bit messy though today, to be fair, so you don't want to see. But the joy of revisiting things that I haven't done before, I can't even begin to explain. And so this opening has occurred, and I feel like something has been lifted or taken off my shoulders or something like that. And it's not something that's come from, what they're telling us to do, if you like, all these restrictions that have been put in place. It's definitely to do with from here, from me. And the realisation that I've been putting these extra restrictions on myself because I'm not used to doing things. I'm mask exempt, so you get that weirdness when you go into places. Not from everybody, but you do. And it can feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I think that fear has stopped me, the fear of being judged that you're being selfish by not wearing a mask and that kind of thing. So that stopped me doing a couple of things, a lot of things actually. But even things like, going out in nature and seeing your favourite tree, it's beyond me why I've restricted myself like that. So it's been a really interesting week, I have to say, of self-realisations, even a transformation, I would say. And I'm definitely feeling a lot more ready for the beginning of spring. If you're feeling down at all, I recommend going to read those comments on the last video, because it's such a beautiful circle of love, such a beautiful community on here. I can't thank you enough. And it really shone brightly last week in those comments. So I think in readiness for the oncoming of spring, there's a few things I'd like to reset and refresh, all the words, if you know what I mean. And looking around this space, I'm going to paint, I think, today, and I'm also going to try and clear some extra space, some extra shelving for some stuff for the shop. So as I mentioned earlier, I've got stuff for the shop everywhere, and that's okay if I wasn't such a messy painter, but I tend to splash myself and my surroundings, and I don't obviously want to get any paint on the prints or cards or anything like that. So I do need some extra storage space. And the other thing is I could give James a couple of his plants back, because I've been looking after them in the winter because his room got a bit cold for some of the plants, and he wasn't watering one of them enough, and it kept sort of dying and wilting and stuff. So I rescued it, but I think it's time for him to have his plants back and me to create a bit more space. I love my plants, you know, I love my plant babies, but there's a limit in a small space, and I think I've reached it. So anything else to catch you up with then? Monday I painted. So I've been painting some more in my Flower Power series. And Tuesday, what did we do yesterday?
Coffee.
Yeah, I haven't poured mine yet.
I'll take this week.
Don't worry.
I was going to send Jazzy the details and see.
Oh yeah, she was asking yesterday, wasn't she? Okay, and then this is my main list, which I did in preparation for the meeting, if you like. That's the next thing for the podcast, because that's my job for today. I've got to do a painting and a podcast.
So it's the top switch.
Yeah.
Over to the left is off.
Yeah.
And you want it in the middle.
Right. What's the other one? What's the bottom thing?
That's volume decrease by 10 decibels or increase by 10 decibels.
What does that mean? Is that going to pick up my voice?
It's a way of the built-in amplifier.
I was going to paint yesterday, but it was one of those frustrating days that I had so much shop stuff to catch up on, and also I had to have a meeting with James, really long overdue, and so we had to collaborate on stuff because he's the shop manager and he designs everything and he photographs everything, so he does all the Patreon editing completely now, as well as he's got his own work to do as well, and he's quite busy at the moment, which is really great. But also we just need to sort of collaborate our timings as well, which is crazy that we live together as well, so I guess we could do that any time. But we don't like talking shop out of hours, if you like. Otherwise we just end up talking about work, as you can imagine, 24/7, and so there's no unwind and time off. So I'm going to do a bit of painting now. I have got my flowers that are on their last legs, but still so beautiful. And I've been painting these, so I'm going to continue with that. And yeah, these roses, wow, so lovely. The colours, I think they're even more lovely than they were in a way. But yeah, I'm going to have a little session.
If you're stuck inside tomorrow, scared by what you can't see, if your heart is full of sorrow and you don't know where you need to be, I'll hold you in my arms, sweet darling me. It's taken a little while, tell me what you need. It's okay to let go now, take the lead. I'll hold you in my arms, sweet darling me. No, I don't think you're crazy. You're just trying to do it right. You are the light inside our home. You made me dance without a song, sweet darling me. Ooh, 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 ooh. playing nice and you need some rock and roll. If you feel a little restless at the center of your soul, go on and take me by the hand, sweet darling bee. Let's be a little crazy. Let's try to make it right. You are the light inside our home. You make me smile without a joke, sweet darling me.
And I've kind of, as you can see, put together a kind of gallery wall, if you like. And quite a lot of my pieces are really quite small at the moment, which I really like. It's a kind of like, feels quite intimate. It's an intimate way of working with smaller things. And maybe I'd go big again, I don't know. I haven't done for a little while, but at the moment I'm loving the small and playing around with, obviously, with the square format as well. But I think it's really useful to kind of have everything in one place so that you can see what's finished, anything that you maybe want to abandon, because I sometimes abandon things as well, or maybe something needs a longer time to percolate. So I'll put that to the side as well, and then you can kind of see things that are already finished and things that just need the odd little tweak or finishing touch, maybe a dab of colour or something like that. And then sometimes, if you're really lucky, you get a breakthrough painting where you make new discoveries and you move your work forwards in sometimes a direction that you weren't expecting, but certainly you're covering new ground at this point, and it's something that maybe excites you a little bit more. So that's always nice. And I think if you work in layers like I do, for example, I think sometimes you can miss those little breakthroughs. So it's really useful to photograph your work in between layers, or hang it up in between and have a little ponder and a cup of tea with it and see what's happening. So I think I'm going to go home now because I need to go and pick up a parcel and I'm getting hungry, so I need to go and eat something. So yeah, and there's a little peek at my very messy studio. But yeah, I'll go and wash my brushes now, and then I can go home.
Flows one direction, and fishes they follow the flow. But what if one tried to mention that there was much more to explore? Here I am, I have a plan, I'm living free, don't know. Dragonfly heard the message. Darkness was its wings to the surface. Bright colors set them apart. Here I am.
So I just thought I would spend a little bit more time actually on my gallery wall because it's so helpful. After everything that I said to you yesterday, I realised, do you know what, I think I need to spread things out a little bit, have a rummage as well, and just look at where these flower powers came from, these little flower paintings, and how it's evolved with my work basically, and also, you know, the more recent additions. And I suppose, I mean, I've put a few, let's just see if I can wiggle you around a bit actually. So it's just, can we zoom out a bit? There we go. So that's the kind of full look, if you like. And I've not got all my paintings because I sold most of them. So if you've bought a painting off me, thank you so much. I was a bit blown away. I think let's have a look then. So going over to this one here, that was quite an early one, and so was that little black one in the middle. And when I think I did 6, maybe a few more, maybe 6 or 8 of those in that very first series on the dark backgrounds, and I really liked using the dark backgrounds. And so as you can see, I've continued with that. And this painting as well, this study. Yes, so this study of a Paul Bethon painting, which I did in the Patreon. I've done quite a lot of these processes in the Patreon. So if you're interested in the process videos, more detailed with voiceovers and instructions and working alongside me, etc., that's all up in the Patreon. And that was quite a long project that we did step by step. And it was a really lovely project. And it actually inspired the whole flower power thing because I brought in the lilies into my work, and I did another couple of paintings, and again I don't have those anymore, they've sold. So that's where it all began, with the Paul Bethon lithograph. I did mine in mainly watercolour, I believe. That led on to those two up there, and my own kind of version and interpretation of the Paul Bethon. And before that, I was doing little things like that. So let's just have a look at that one. Yeah, that's kind of how my faces have begun to develop. And then that one in the corner, which I haven't worked on because I need to oil paint, and I can't really oil paint in here because this room has a carpet. So I'm still waiting for my perfect studio where I can literally oil paint. So she will get finished, and obviously my flower powers have moved forward a lot in the meantime, so she's probably going to turn out differently to how I originally planned as well. Yeah, I've just sort of dipped into my postcard collection as well because, you know, I can see some of the paintings that actually sold. I've still got a record of them for my gallery, if you like. And let's just think how I've categorised then. I was going to sort of put them in chronological order, but it's not kind of the way it felt right to me. So what I've actually done is I've put in a kind of where my faces and figures with the flowers, that's kind of over there. And then I have moved on to my canvas squares and my dark backgrounds. So my Flowers in the Moonlight series and my Truly Madly Deeply. And I've also included a couple of really loose studies on paper. There's one up there at the top with the blues and oranges, and then one just here with the pinks and the turquoises, the teals. And those were highly influential as well, and kind of stepping stones. I don't think they were breakthroughs or anything like that, but they feel like stepping stones. I think this one here, right in the centre, the very first canvas square I did in my flower power, I've kept hold of that one. I didn't sell it because that did feel like a bit of a breakthrough painting. And I've got my classic writing on the canvas. So I like to include words within my artwork, not just in my art journals. And so on that one, I'd written some quotes. I think that's a Maya Angelou quote on that one. And then I've got a few others with words on. So sometimes I collage on a word or two, and then sometimes I handwrite them as well. So what's interesting in doing this process as well is to have a look at your more later work, so your most recent studies and paintings, and then see what's new. And the thing that's evolved this week actually is just me putting the flowers in a pot. So you'll see I've got sort of four paintings up there with the flowers in the pot, which has been pretty life-changing for me, which may sound a little bit odd, but yes, adding the pot has just stabilized everything, and I really love the pot, the addition of the pot, and I still want to stay really loose. So looking at this one, which I painted yesterday, and again that process will be going up in the Patreon. I'm going to do the voiceover for that next week, and then James will edit that for me. But it was a really lovely process of everything that I've learned while I've been doing this flower power project, if you like. So that's kind of a small breakthrough. I wouldn't call it a big breakthrough, but there's a few things that happened in that painting that were really yummy, and I want to continue doing those. And then today I've just continued with a really loose, no pressure. So from yesterday I did a really loose, this one here, and then today I've just done, another one quite loose, and I've written on that one as well, I would pick you, because I thought that was quite cute. But just using the kind of same techniques as yesterday, trying to keep loose, semi-abstract, not going in too tight, and yeah, so it's going to be quite exciting coming in next week and having a little look. So if you've never done this before and you've never set up a gallery wall for yourself, it doesn't really matter how you set it up. There's no rules at all. Just kind of go intuitively. Use as big a space as you can find, preferably with as plain a background as you can find, and then also maybe photograph a few things too, just for your records. It shows your development, it shows your progress, it shows any breakthroughs, sometimes it shows things from a few months ago that you've forgotten and you'd like to bring back in. And I guess if you want to see like the whole process, you can go back onto my Instagram grid, and that will show you a load more other flower powers as well. So there we go. I strongly recommend trying a gallery wall. And obviously it's tidied up my my wet area as well, so I've got a little gallery show in here now. I often talk about, when I'm doing my studio vlogs, the fact that I'm doing my percolating process. And so, for example, the painting in the corner, she's been going quite a long time, and that's absolutely fine. Quite a few of my other little paintings have been going quite a long time as well, and that's absolutely fine. I like to percolate, and I really encourage you also to take a little bit of time, step back, have a cup of tea with your paintings. Sometimes I'll take a painting home and kind of commune with it as well, especially if it's a figure, a character, and it might give you some messages of, the next steps, or it's finished, it's done, leave it how it is. So yeah, see what happens. And I really do think that's, a really massive, important part of the process. I talk a lot about inspiration time as well. So it's that little bit at the beginning and then the little bit towards the end. So you might have things that aren't finished. I certainly have up here. And I really like that freshness that happens when you've got unfinished pieces as well. And so don't just think about having your most finished pieces up on the wall and have a look. Have a look at your works in progress, because your works in progress will probably give you more sparks and more ideas and more clues of the directions you'd like to go in. So what we're doing here really is we're going on a bit of a treasure hunt and seeing if we can find any little gems and diamonds within our process that we can then integrate those things into our newer works, into our newer pieces. And it doesn't matter if you're a pro artist or you're a beginner or you're doing it as a hobby or anything. If you're creating, whether it's paintings or something else indeed, then yeah, this is a really nice way to review and evaluate and find that treasure. So if you do create a gallery wall, then feel free to tag me on Instagram, and I'd love to have a look at all your gallery walls as well. And let me know as well, you know, if it's been helpful for you, if you haven't done it for a long time, or maybe indeed you've never done it. You know, has the process of doing your own little gallery helped you in your process? I'd love to know.